Good morning, students. It's Mr. Potenski, and we are going to be looking at our adding and multiplying of positive and negative integers today, and doing something called the X game. So let's just do some quick review. Just doing some vocab here and remembering some vocab. Remember, sum. It is the solution to an addition problem. And then we have product. That is the solution to a multiplication problem. All right. So just a couple um, vocabulary there. So there's some things we want to remember about adding and multiplying our positive and negative integers. That we know if we take a positive times a positive, our result or our product is going to end up being positive. Okay, we know that when we take a positive times a negative, our result is going to be negative. And then just because we know that we could do that in either order, a negative times positive is also a negative. We know that we can um, change the order and it's still the same. But then a negative times a negative gives us a positive. Okay. All right. So those are some big thoughts there. All right. But over here, when we're talking about the sums, if we take a positive plus a positive, we know the result is going to be positive, right? Same thing, if we take a negative plus a negative, we know the result is going to be negative when we're adding them together. So, but we have this big in between step. What happens when we're adding a negative and a positive? Okay, so if we have a negative plus a positive, what do we get? What makes us know what we get? All right. When do we know? Is it sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. What determines when it's positive and when it's negative? So that's what we're going to be looking at here. All right. So we have to think about that. And the basic answer is if we just did a couple problems, if what we're going to notice, all right, what we're going to notice it's determined by which value has the bigger magnitude. Let's say value determined by value with bigger magnitude. Magnitude. All right, gotta make sure I spell that right. So that means if we have a negative 36 and a 27, so negative 36 plus 27, which one of those is further away from 0? Well, the negative 36 has the bigger magnitude. So if you want to think magnitude as absolute value, you can think about it that way. So it's further away from 0. So that means it's going to be pulling that 27 over to the negative side when we uh, add those together. So we know the result is going to be negative. All right, so just same thing if we had 56 and let's say 44. All right, or sorry, 56 and negative 44. If we add those two together, that 56 has a bigger magnitude. And what's going to happen there is we're going to end up getting a positive outcome. All right, and some people like to just say, well, when you're adding that negative, we can just subtract it from the other one, and that is one way to do it. So if we use those examples we were just talking about, so I believe it was a negative 36 plus 27. So what you can do there, we know that negative 36, right? Okay, it has the bigger magnitude. So you can really take 36 minus 27 and do the borrowing and all of that and end up with 9, right? Okay. And and then you're like, well, that's 9, but because the negative has the bigger magnitude, we know the outcome of negative 36 plus 27 is going to be that negative 9. All right. So, and then we said if we had a positive 56 plus a negative 44. Okay. Well, we can do that as 56 minus 44. Okay. And we get 22. And because 56, it has the bigger magnitude, we know that the outcome is going to be positive 22. So we don't need to put that plus out in front to signify that it's positive, but we can. So the remember the sign of the number with the bigger magnitude is what determines the outcome uh, of our sum when we're adding a positive and a negative. All right, that is the big thing here. And I mean, this is some review from seventh grade and things like that. But we need this to go on. All right. So we're going to be doing something here, and it's called the X game. And the setup right now is rather important. So when we're setting this up, all right, what we're going to see is you're going to see an X, okay, and you're going to be seeing a number up here, okay, and then another number down here. So now, okay, what we know here is this up here is going to be sum. So we have, and then we're gonna have two other numbers. Okay, so our sum is up here, and then our product is right here. Okay, so if we have a sum of 5 and a product of 6, we need to decide what are two numbers, okay, that sum to 5 and have a product of 6. Some of you just racking your brain and like, well, there's not too many numbers that add up to 5. Okay. Well, that's when we that's when we're considering two positive numbers. So now we have to think about where do these numbers intersect? Like if they add to a positive, okay, so that means that it's a positive and positive, okay, or a positive and negative where the positive is bigger. But then if they have a product that's positive, then we know that we either have two positives, right? Two positives, or two negatives being multiplied together. So the only place where those line up is we know we have two positive numbers. So, all right, so that's the first clue we know here. All right, we know that we have two positive numbers. And then we're thinking about what adds to 5, and those two numbers also multiply to 6. So you can think about factors of 6. Well, 1 times 6 is 6. Well, 1 plus 6 is not 5. All right, it's 7. Okay, then 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. Oh, we just found those. Okay, so we're thinking about factors. All right. So this is, um, like I said, something we call the X game, and um, it it's a way for us to just think about numbers that add to something and then also multiply to something else. So it's a good way to just practice some problem solving, practice some of our skills um, with factoring and just figuring out critical thinking and problem solving to come up with what those two numbers will be. So, um, and then if you want to make notes, you can say the two numbers that satisfy the criteria. So satisfy the criteria being they sum to 5 and they have a product of 6. So if you want to practice a few more, you can pause the video here. So there's an, so there are 4 right there for you to practice. Okay. So you can pause the video and then check your answers. So if you're just joining back, you can see that we put the answers in and checked our work. So good to show that, hey, that those numbers work. We have 1 and 5 for the first, 4 and 9 for the second, negative 4 and 9 for the third, and negative 7 and negative 7 for the fourth. So these are some that you can practice. A good way to do this is maybe get a sibling to take a pair of dice, and if you want to just start out with some easy ones where they're just positive numbers, they roll the dice and they tell you what they add to and what they multiply to. So kids in like third, fourth, if you have siblings in third or fourth grade or above, would be good for this, and just challenge each other there. So, and then if you want to throw some extra spice in the wheel, they can maybe get some different colored dice and just randomly choose those and decide that one color is positive and one color is negative, and um, then you're really guessing, and then just some ways to practice in the future. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.